So I'd like to call the meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust to order at 1:05 PM. Could I have a roll call, please?
Dave Worland present.
Cindy Boundy present.
Beverly Napier present.
Chad Sexton Duranian present.
And Veronica Cal present. The meeting is being recorded and it will be posted on YouTube. I have no additions and deletions as such. So, does anybody else? Okay, and we're ready to go. First thing is the minutes for our April meeting and the site visit on 5/9. So does anybody have any, so let's look at 4/22, our regular board meeting first.
Can I show you?
There's a whole packet here.
Oh.
Anybody have any comments? I didn't look, Karen. Were they posted to the website? Did you post them?
Which, sorry,
The minutes?
not the draft minutes.
Not the draft, but the ones that we approved at that
I
meeting?
sent them to the town clerk, so they should be.
No, they're not.
They're not. Okay.
Yeah, I had looked. So when you give them to her and she stamps them in, have her scan them. And if you scan them to me, I'll post them while I'm still the web person. And I don't mind, I never got them and I kept looking and they weren't. So, and I didn't know the process. And she doesn't post people's minutes to the website. She just sticks them in a folder.
Okay.
So if you want them posted, so send them to me, I'll do it. All right, any comments on the 4/22 minutes?
No.
I have none.
I know, I don't either. I mean, they look good to me. So should I make a motion to accept the
Yes.
minutes
Yeah.
for the 4/22/24 meeting?
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we don't have anybody
We
remote
don't have
today.
to, so we can
Yay.
just, all right.
Okay. All right, so the minutes for 4/22 are accepted. Then the minutes from our site visit on May 9th.
Someone posted a really nice site map. Yeah.
I know.
Someone posted a really nice site map.
I know,
That was very nice.
Yeah. So, if there are no comments, is there a motion?
I move to accept the site visit minutes of May 9th.
And
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
that's how I am too. I'm abstaining because I wasn't there too.
Okay. All right. All right, so the minutes are accepted. So when they get stamped there, just, either scan them to me or whatever. Yeah. So, all right, back to the agenda. The forestry contract. So I'm gonna go to Erin on this and ask her to talk about everything that has transpired since we signed and, got the changes made and signed. And so where do we stand on all of that?
Yeah.
So I can see if I can pull it up. Can you make it so I can share, please? Thank you. So we had, let's see myself. So we had the previous contract that was just sort of like the generic town contract, but it referred us back to the original scope of services. And when I went and looked at the scope of services, it basically just said, that the timber harvesting company could, all it said was that it was going to be cut. It had no scope of services as to how much was going to be cut, how they were going to be harvesting, anything like that. So I went in and changed some of the language so that it was more specific. I spoke briefly with Ronnie and we said that, I put in 50% as a cut. That's something that you all can discuss, and if that is what you want to do, or if you want to do more or less. Let me bring it up now. And then I also, I believe it was mentioned last time that we should perhaps look at if these are still, the prices, the going rates, or if those should be adjusted based on current.
Yeah, and
Pricing.
when you spoke with Kyle Anderson,
Mhm.
did you ask him if they were the same or no?
I did not know.
Okay, we should reach out to him. He provided these to us last time.
Yeah.
Um,
I can reach out and ask.
Yeah, let's see if they're the same, better or worse.
What are those, Dave, what are those prices that are on here? Is that-
These are the wholesale prices that, when he takes the wood. in.
Per timber, per tree?
It's,
This is per foot.
Okay.
Nice if we could buy firewood for $10 a cord, huh?
Right.
Hmm.
So this is the,
Board foot.
Yeah,
this is what the generic contract that, you all reviewed last meeting. This is what it is referring to. So previously it was very sparse, and now it has more information in it, because this is easier for us to change.
right.
Although I think that we'll still have to, share the amended one with, the select board so that they are aware of the changes that were made, even though it's just, giving detail to the language.
And what we had done last year when we got this chart is we had talked to the town forester
Mhm.
to see if this seemed to be in line. And the answer we got was yes,
At the time.
at the time.
Mhm.
So, anyway,
Okay.
so yeah, I guess
Was that the tree warden?
yes,
I think, because it was like a year ago, right?
it
At
was
least.
Yeah.
almost, it was last summer. I think it was like June. Then we walked
Seems
with
like
him.
one, seems long.
And we got this in like August, no, September, beginning of September, 9/8. So we walked with him somewhere around June, July. So it hasn't been quite a year, even though I think in the minutes it said a year ago, but it's close enough for what it is. So,
And then the other changes, additions to the contract. I know you referenced, we talked about extending it into 25.
So we did not make any changes other than what was, the contract was extended through, was it June 30th, 25?
yes,
That change was made.
Good.
But I believe that was the only change that was made, other than the ones that were discussed in the previous meeting. Which I'd have to remind myself what that was. There was, I think, one
it
other
was,
small language.
it was farther at the end. It was like, section 20. And I'm trying to remember what it had to do with. I have the contract here somewhere. Had something to do with payment, and we're not paying him. He's paying us,
Right.
but it was, it was something to do with that.
You know, there was something that we talked about right at the beginning about limiting, just for the sight line along the road, limiting the cutting. Now, and we can discuss that with Kyle. I don't know if it needs to be memorialized in a contract, but remember, you had brought that up. It's smart.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember it, and I think it's important to keep trees on the front of the lots, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So-
to keep it
so-
screened.
Yeah, to have
Yeah.
a screen so that, yeah.
So is it important enough to memorialize it, or is it something that we could just say, look, this is, it's part of your 50%, 67, whatever
I put
percentage
it in
cut.
writing, but that's just because I'm paranoid. I would put it in writing. I would put it in writing.
Then
Say I
put,
put everything
so
in
that-
writing.
yeah.
a buffer of, say, what, 30 feet or something will be kept along the roadway? Do we want to be that specific?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a really good point, yeah.
I can add that in.
okay.
But
Is 30 feet enough?
Oh,
Okay,
I think so.
all right. No, I'm just trying to think, if you
I
cut
know.
back 30 feet, what's it look like? Should we go?
Yeah, no, I think 30 feet.
Eventually, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, all right, yeah,
Okay, so yeah, that's my only comment,
all right.
other than the percentage, which I do have some thoughts about.
Yeah,
Are you good?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
talk
because-
about the
Okay,
percentage.
so there's two lots here. Which of these two lots is most likely to be developed into housing over the next 5 or 10 years?
South Road Road,
Okay.
and that's the 19.3
Right.
acre piece.
All right. So that one, I would be fine with 50% and not more.
Yes, I
Okay.
agree with you on
Let the
that.
developer determine how much further, if we get to a developer.
Mhm.
All right, for the other one, how likely is it will ever be used?
It won't be,
For
it
housing?
doesn't have town water, so we're limited to 12 units
Mhm.
on that. And after that, you have to put in a water system, so that one becomes more difficult to develop at this point in time. Fish and Wildlife had expressed interest. However, it doesn't abut a Fish and Wildlife property.
I thought it did. No?
I thought it did, but it does not. It does in the back, it's part of priority habitat.
Mhm.
So if you're going from Haynes Road, way up Wallace Hill, at the very top, there's a small piece, a very small piece, that's priority habitat, and it's 31 acres total. So we're probably looking at maybe 2 acres up at the very top of that property.
So this is Wallace Hill and Haynes Road you're talking
Correct.
Right.
about? Okay.
So my thought on that one would be to do more than 50%. Especially if it won't be developed for a long
It'll
time. It's
be
the
a
last
long
one to go. It could be 15 years. And in 15 years, you get some decent new growth if they do a forestry
Yes.
plan. So I would propose doing more than 50%. How much more? I'll leave that to you guys to throw out.
So I'll throw out another idea in that respect, if you're not looking to do it within 5 years or even 10 years. I know that the agricultural committee, which is just formulating, is looking for more additional land to be able to do what they do. And if you cut more than 50%, would it be something that they would be interested in farming there?
Great idea. I'm not,
That would be a clear cut though, almost clear cut.
No, I'm not saying you could
Yeah.
still cut 50% and then as long
well,
as
but
they could have
agriculture would have,
Yeah.
they still have to stump. He's not gonna stump. That's an added fee.
Mhm.
Right?
Then that's what I'm saying.
So I don't know.
Talk with them to
Yeah.
find out what the,
Do we have an agricultural committee seated? When
they're in
were
the
they
process of
appointed?
being seated, yes.
They haven't been appointed yet, though. have they?
Correct, yeah.
Um,
Nobody wants to put
I
a number.
know, no,
I say
know.
greater than
You know-
50% and less than 100%.
I'd say
Yeah.
less than 80. And I don't know when that property was last cut. It has been cut, but there isn't all that much old growth up there.
Yeah.
So
When
it
we
has
walked
been
it,
cut.
there didn't look like there was much.
So I would say 50 on the 19.3 and up to 80 on the 31.4. keep, I mean, if we want to back off, we could say 75,
Well,
but who's gonna be
it may
figuring
be
it out?
academic if he has to give up 30 feet all
Along
on the
the
edges,
road,
so
yeah.
maybe 70, 75 anyway.
Mm.
So are we doing a 30-foot buffer all along the property line? Or
Along the
just
road.
along the road?
I'd say along the road,
That's what I say too. Okay,
you agree?
Okay, if we do 30 feet, is Blood Road and West Townsend Road in this?
no.
Okay,
no,
we're not doing that one.
It's just South Road.
Just South
and
Road.
Wallace Hill.
Okay, because that's what I wanted. So on Hickory, would you have a 30-foot? I think you should have a 30-foot buffer there
On
too.
Hickory,
Yeah,
any road
Because
frontage.
those, yeah, and then Southborough Road. Yeah,
On-
Yeah,
okay.
all road frontage,
yeah, yeah,
a 30-foot buffer.
yeah. And on
Okay.
Southborough, you have enough acreage there that you could leave buffers on both ends.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
And-
for
and
sure.
clear.
I just didn't know about the whole property line, you know? like,
Oh, yeah,
do
yeah.
we want the 30-foot along the whole property line or just on the road frontage?
So I
That's
think
true. How
we'd
close
just
is
be
it?
focused on the sightlines, the boundaries by the road.
The road,
By the road
Okay.
and leave the sides.
all right.
Yeah. I know, I'm trying to think of houses that are in there. Okay, yeah. And, yeah, no, I would
Okay.
agree with that. Are you making a
30 foot
motion?
On road frontage, along
Yeah,
road
On
frontage.
all road frontages, for either one. Aaron, can you figure out the language, or should we?
Yes, they can figure out language.
We don't need town council for.
On road frontage.
Well, we need town council enough for this.
That's what I mean.
Is that 50% on the 19-acre parcel and up to 80 on the 31-acre parcel? Are we agreed on that? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay, so consensus.
So hopefully by next meeting, we can get this, or even between, if we, well, do we need to see the update on the contract? And vote?
What, we already signed it at the Haynes Road sidewalk that we're gonna talk about next. Do we need to read, including the selectmen? And I have another question for you that just popped into my head. So first question, do we need to re-sign, including the selectmen in that?
I don't know if it needs to be re-signed, but I
Okay.
do think that the select board needs to be notified.
Okay,
I don't know what your thoughts are, Chaz.
Yes, so, and that's what I was, being the selectman liaison, I can report on it. I can actually report on it tomorrow if you guys want. That we had to make some revisions to the contract, but it's still,
make it more specific.
right,
Yeah, just the
Okay.
scope of services.
Yeah.
So,
Just scope of service.
I can do that, and that way I can sign on it. I don't need that.
And I've already signed it, so, and Dave signed it, the two of us signed it, so we should be good. Correct?
Yeah, I just,
Okay.
I think that we need to move this along as quickly as we can. It's been a while.
I believe that the work can't be done until it's cold out anyways.
Right. It'll be after
True,
October, November.
but he
so.
has other contracts and he's gotta
Yes.
figure out what he
Yeah.
can do within a lot amount of time.
Yes, I just didn't want you to
Get on
say,
his
well, when is
schedule.
this happening?
Yeah. No, we just need to get in queue with the,
Yeah.
Okay,
the forester as soon as we can.
my second question is, was there anything definitive on whether it needed to be filed with the Conservation Commission or the stormwater plan with the planning board?
I'm going to have to go back and look at the stormwater bylaw, but if we're not, it's based on the amount of cutting that's actually going to be done, so we're gonna have to do some calculations on amount of trees, actual trees being cut compared to the land size, because it's all dependent on, something. Off the top of my head, I wanna say it was like 40,000 square feet is the trigger for it, for having to come up with a stormwater plan, so I will review that with, Jessica
South
and.
Road, way more than that.
So, but here's the thing, I spoke to the service forester for our region at DCR, and I was told that we did not have to file if the forester put in a forest cutting plan with the state,
That's what I-
that there was no need for stormwater, et cetera. He said, however, if we were developing within 2 years, then it would be retroactive. We would, then that it would be unwise to not do one if we were planning, if we were doing this in anticipation of development. But we are not, because for now, these two properties won't be developed anytime soon. So,
Yeah, my understanding is that so long as there is a certified forestry plan that goes through the state and they sort of do a stormwater review as a part of it, and then that would, it would go to the Conservation Commission for review.
right,
They don't have the power to say yay or nay, but it still goes through that same sort of portion of it.
yes, exactly.
But we still want it, we just want them to be aware that it's happening, so they don't
Right.
go, wait a second.
Right, exactly.
So go
it
through the
does come
motions
back.
ahead of time, I think is safer.
Okay,
We don't have to go through, it's not the same as if you were doing a true stormwater permit though.
okay, all right. So, okay. All right, moving on to 2.3, unless anybody else has anything on the forestry. 2.3 is the Haynes Road property, discussion on possible encroachment. And all I have to say is, us doing a forest cutting plan up there, gonna get them going. So just know that, because that's the 80% parcel. And we went and walked that, but there should be notifications that go out.
Yes.
Before we do the cut. But I think some people might be up in arms that we're cutting quote unquote conservation, including Fish and Wildlife.
I think too, because they had that big clear cut years ago. I don't, like when it was further up the hill,
Mhm.
but like clear cut's kind of like a dirty word. It's like, oh my goodness,
Right.
so, which,
Maybe 2 words.
I do, dirty two word, which it is kind of a, I don't know. But
So as far as possible encroachment goes, we couldn't really tell because the bounds aren't marked. For
So
our
who
property.
encroached who?
There was an abutter to our property who pretty much clear cut their
Yeah, they
property. And it
bulldoze all
was-
the trees.
Yeah, I mean, everything. This big. Yeah, everything. So, and we went and walked up there to look and see, and because there was no lawn mark, there's no lawn mark on that property. We thought perhaps we should think about getting that line marked.
Hmm.
And yeah, here are some pictures. That's from our property, looking at the butter, that cut.
oh my
Oh,
goodness,
my.
Yeah.
oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
That is clear cut.
Yeah.
Aaron, Jessica, Beverly, David, and I walked.
Yeah, there's some very large
Oh my
trees that
goodness.
were.
Removed.
Yeah,
And we just don't know if that's on our property or not. And it was a citizen who called in to notify that this was
oh my
happening.
goodness. Who did it?
They want to remain anonymous.
Oh, no, the abutter, who's,
Oh, no, the person who.
oh, the
reported
person
it.
who called.
Yeah.
wants to be-
Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, that's fair.
The abutter is currently working on a stormwater permit retroactively for this
There
parcel.
was no filing.
And
done
we,
for
do
the
we
fact.
know if it's gone any further than we were 2 weeks ago when we were there?
It was more than that.
We don't know if it's gone any further.
Okay.
We know that the
Maybe it was just-
the person who originally reported it to us said that, the trail that we were looking for is still covered by this debris. So it's still, it has not been cleared
They
at
haven't
all.
cleaned it up,
Right,
but the question is whether they've cut even further into
yeah, I'm
what we
not sure.
think might be ours.
Yeah, we don't know. So we asked
So are you saying
Aaron,
that you wanted to get it surveyed?
to have that property line surveyed. So that's why the two things are in the packet.
Okay.
I wanted to ask Karen, I remember I mentioned this when we were walking the land, I said, well, that sounds like an outrageous amount of money. And then I started thinking about whether that was a topo map or just a boundary map. In other words, a topo map is more expensive, right? And we don't need a topo map, we're just talking about meets and bounds, we just wanna see the edges.
Yes,
Okay.
so,
So,
I'll let
I
Aaron
tried to
talk.
read that and I couldn't figure
You
out.
should have a
Sure.
copy in there.
Yeah,
So
well, I saw it online. Good.
there's two quotes in there. One is for a full survey of the property, so all 30+ acres.
Right,
And that is because the company said that the records that are on file are not adequate for working off of, so they would basically have to start from scratch. And so that is why it is more expensive, and they would want to refile. So we'd have an up-to-date for going forward survey. The second one is to just do basically along that one boundary with the abutter to stake and survey just that one portion. So that, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000.
4,000.
yeah.
So that would just be to stake and survey that one portion, so we would have that boundary line. So that if there was any action that the trust wanted to take, there would be something that we could work off of.
So thoughts on this, and we should get, if it's over 10,000, we should get, more,
Yes.
quotes, but I don't know, what do you guys think? I'm not gonna throw out my thoughts until I hear what everybody else thinks.
Well, first of all, do we think this is absolutely necessary?
I think yes.
Okay.
I do-
We all
I do
agree.
too.
I think
agree
we
with
have to
I
at
do too.
least do the one property line where the encroachment, possible encroachment.
Which
may
is
have
that's
occurred.
number 2? Okay.
That's, I don't know what order they were in, but the 5/15/2024, the 4,100 estimate.
Well, this. It's number 2.
Okay, that's this one. There's a second one.
This
The 5/15. There's one that's
show me
dated,
which-
okay. This is the one that Aaron got, that's just for the property line, for the encroachment
Yes,
side.
just for that one
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then,
Stakes, boundary, corners, and lot line.
yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
Okay.
dated up at the top, 5/15/2024.
So can I ask you this? If we did that now, we said, okay, we'll do that. Do we think down the road, no pun intended, down the road, will it be necessary to do any further?
Do you want me to answer what I think?
Well,
Before
why don't you-
everybody else talks?
Why don't you hold off on saying what you're saying?
That's
because
what I would like to
I agree
do.
with you that I don't think we need to have the whole thing surveyed. In my experience, if there's a contested lot line, that's the only one that you really need to spend your money on, if you're gonna spend your money on.
I would agree, however,
The other question or comment that I have is that you guys had staked out some money for Warren Road, didn't
yes,
you?
you did,
I think we also staked out money for Warren Road.
you did.
So that kind of, I think, is still in play, that I could ask the selectmen that if we took care of Warren Road, then you guys would have money to take care of this.
Well, we do have, and this is jumping ahead, there's in the packet, there was what we have in our account.
Mhm.
But you guys want to talk before I say what I think?
no, you know what, I'm kind of feeling the same way. Plus, if you do one line, that's where the dispute is, so do that line. If down the road something else happens, you've got that line done, which will
Okay.
be huge, but I don't
am
know if
just
there's
gonna
something else that
say,
you
we
know.
just
I don't
said
know.
that we've signed a contract for forestry on this parcel.
Right.
There are butters all
Uh-huh.
along Wallace Hill. And we could wind up in the same situation in reverse, where people are saying,
We cut
you're
their
cutting
property.
on my property.
Mm.
If we do the full survey, then we know where our property is. And that's why I'm an advocate for the full survey.
Which
And
is the
recording it.
$9,000.
Which is the 12,000, more than that, 13, 14, 15. It's 9,000 for the blah, blah, blah. Then it's to stake the corners, putting in the
Oh, I
iron
get
rods
you.
and the
It's the 9,
drill.
the 4, and the
And then it's
2,500.
to put it at the registry.
And then it can
Have
be
a plan of
forced,
land.
and then no one can argue because we know exactly what it is. What do you think we're going to net from the forestry of that lot if we spend
Less than
15?
this, less than this.
Yes.
We're not gonna net
So-
much at
So
all.
what's the point?
Could we put a 30-foot buffer of trees all the way around it? And then maybe that would give us wiggle room. Would that be enough? Maybe not enough land to say, this is our property, like, if the boundaries are questionable, would a 30-foot buffer?
It's a risk
Of
benefit
cutting?
because, someone could still contest it
Yeah,
down the road, but I agree with you. My personal feeling is, I don't think that we should spend that much money. I just don't see it. I'd run the risk of someone, then, if someone says, oh, you know what, you're cutting on our land, then what? What's the cure? What happens if, you ask forgiveness?
I don't like taking this stance, because it's on a personal level, it doesn't look right, but I will say this, that in a land dispute, and correct me if I'm wrong, the burden of proof is on the person who says that you're doing something wrong, correct?
Not necessarily.
Okay, so if somebody else disputed what was cut, how is that settled? Is it
It
settled that?
goes to land court. Well, no, it doesn't. There is theft of wood, and it does go to court. You do wind up
I
in
agree,
court.
but who, ultimately, is there a boundary that needs to be drawn?
I believe there is.
And who pays for that boundary?
We're the ones cutting.
Let me ask you this.
But if we cut and we are correct, there's nothing we have to pay. We should have to pay,
yeah, yeah.
is what I'm saying.
You say that there are parcels that have been developed, that exist, that may or may not be encroached on, reforest without having a survey. That's what you're saying, right? Why can't we access this public record, those people who have properties along there, and look at their property line? Why can't we look at that first, rather than spend $15,000 or
We have that down
whatever?
in the assessor's office.
Can't we do that?
That'll
Yes,
tell you.
the assessor's records aren't, I can tell you right now that they are not accurate.
How inaccurate are they?
They're very inaccurate. A
Yeah.
50
More than your
acre piece
30
of
foot
property became
I-
12
you know, I know.
acres for the land
Oh.
trust. In a disputed property where there was a cutting.
How much was it? What was the
We
numbers
went
again?
from 50 to 12. The
Oh, boy.
assessor said we had 50 acres. We knew that it was less than that by doing a area plan, just taking the area and math. And so we knew it was less than that, but the assessor's record was wrong.
Okay.
The deeded was also incorrect in that the abutter who did the cutting had a different record, and it had to be researched in the registry. And we went from 50 acres to 12 acres. And so we were the ones who were, the land trust was the one questioning, because there was a cutting, because we had a USDA plot that we had given permission to, that was actually on the abutter's property, and they were using it as a research for years to go out and do the 1 acre piece around. And they called me and said, hey, you didn't tell us you did a tree cutting. And I said, we didn't do a tree cutting. And that's how we wound up out there
Mhm.
and and we wound up paying for the
We, the land
land
trust.
trust.
So then my suggestion would be, we have town council's hours coming up. Why don't you put into, I think, I agree with you. I don't think you guys should spend money on something that, if you don't have to. I would propose what town council thinks about how you should move forward with it. And
Okay.
because it's relatively quick,
I'll
you can
make-
get in and see him. I think it's next week.
Aaron, Dillis and Roy, you chose them because the town has history using them, or?
I believe the town has used them before, and that's what we went to them first.
As I said, I said this when we had this site visit, in any case, I would bid this, absolutely, at least one, other if not two.
Yeah, we can look and get
You know,
other.
I would suggest looking into Meridian just because they're close, they're just over the border. We've worked with them, they're real good. They're
Well,
not cheap.
procurement, if it's under 10,000, you don't necessarily have to, but if it's going to be over, which this
If
looks
we're
like it
doing,
clearly
if
is.
we're doing the
you'll
whole
have to-
property, it's
You'll have to
over.
get 3. yeah.
So, yeah, but if we just need the line, we're good with this.
Yeah.
But I do feel that we're doing the cutting, and so I'd just like to know.
Let's
that
get an
we're
opinion
cutting
from
the
town
right stuff.
council. And
Yeah,
and
I'll
kind
do
of
that.
we can revisit this.
Something else to consider, and I don't know how the Via Butter stormwater, plan is going, but they might be required to, do their own survey of the property. So that might be something else that would help
Yeah.
to,
They do have to.
Well, we'll
Yeah,
take care of that
portion
part of it, take care of that line.
portion.
right,
But it
so that might,
doesn't-
so that might help.
satisfy-
Right, but they're part of it.
They're part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they might have to do that as part of this if they haven't already. I know that they've been kind of dragging their feet, I think, or it's just coming together kind of slowly. I'm not entirely sure. But that could be something that would help us along this way. That might also bring down the cost of doing a full survey if some of those survey lines have already been done by another party. We can also look and see if any of the other properties that abut this property have done surveys, because then we could also use that information.
Right,
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. If there's anything that's been done up there.
okay.
And how many abutters are there? What are we talking
There are
about?
probably in the vicinity of 10. It's all up Wallace Hill. So if you go
Yeah.
from the corner of Haynes
All the way up.
all
yeah.
the way up to just below Highland, roughly. And actually, it might be a few more because of backland,
Yeah,
but it's all of those. So I'm guessing 10.
Probably 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So anyway. And there was a cutting done up there, up farther up the hill that caused consternation, not the clear cut from years, but another one more recently. Kind of across from Highland Street, that backland back there. Anyway. All right, moving on. So I'll make an appointment with town council for, it's what, next week, Tuesday? I think, yeah, I'll check with.
I don't have
Sabrina.
anything with me.
Okay. Cottages in the woods. So, this is where we did the sidewalk.
Tuesday?
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah,
4
the
to 7.
25th.
28.
4/28. Three PM that day. What are when is he usually here?
It's from 4 to 7.
Late one. So, it's 7 o'clock if possible. I'll email Sabrina and I'll CC you on that, Aaron, and everybody else. All right, cottages in the woods. So Aaron provided us with she checked in with the Westbridge folks and there's a whole presentation that she had that we looked at on Thursday night. We didn't look at the whole thing, but we looked at parts of it. Can you share that one again, Aaron? It's 20 cottages.
Yep.
I think 10 were 2-bedroom and 10 were 3-bedroom,
Oh,
believe it or not. And Chaz wanted to see the floor plan on these, because
I don't have floor plans, sorry.
Yeah. How, and it took them 10 years to develop it. So starting, and here's the timeline,
Okay.
2007, conceptual planning for the town site. 2 years later, the RFP. And we're kind
Why
of
did it
in
take 2
that.
years to do the RFP? Because to get all that, the site assessment done and so forth, it took 2 years?
So we are so we're kind of with MHP, we're kind of at that 2007 point with what we signed in January. So we were hoping for an RFP in the fall. That's not going to happen. It's going to be spring or the following fall till we get to it because of the time frame that we're experiencing. And so
Johnson Woods took us 7 years. Atwood Acres took us 10 years.
yeah.
So it's, in the beginning, it can be a lengthy process.
So, and so we don't know, but I have something that came to my head after Thursday's meeting. I think we should meet with the Council on Aging and discuss all this with them as well. I think it's early to go talk to the planning board, but Council on Aging would be good.
In terms of design of the,
Yeah, what we're thinking, where the property is. I mean, MHP hopefully is going to come back and say, okay, you can develop this part and, you know, this is what fits within the bylaws. And really, I don't know that we have enough space for an open space multifamily. Just what fits the bylaws, 55 and over, though, we probably do have, based on that bylaw. But that's me talking, the experts will do all that. But that's where we are, so 2009,
Well, the more people we can get involved and get buy-in, the better.
so.
The easier the process is to move forward, I will say that.
So, Aaron.
Right,
if you
Aaron?
If you wanna talk to Council on Aging and see if we could come and maybe put together a presentation, including pictures that we have from here and maybe from Spectacle Pond and for cottage type development. And I would also wanna talk about, how you figure out the cost if it's affordable.
Now, there's a, Aaron, this is for you. I can't remember where it is. It's out on the Cape. And it was an old drive-up theater. A drive-in
Drive-in.
theater. And they converted that to an affordable. And they had all of them pointing in the same direction as where the big screen was, because behind the screen was the ocean. But the way that was designed, it was on a limited spot. And they didn't have sewerage there, so they had to have, if you can find out.
I'm wondering if it's Wellfleet, because I know that they had a drive-in.
It could be Wellfleet, I can't remember what it was. But that was one thing that the Housing Authority looked at as a possible for,
Model.
yeah.
Yeah. So anything like that, and I'll work with you, Aaron, and we can put something together, not for June, maybe for July. Would be
Would
good.
you like to plan for the Council on Aging and for the Planning Board, or just start with one and see how
Let's
it
just start
goes?
with Council on Aging and talk to them, because I think we're a little ways out. So Aaron, what have you
That's
heard
not
from
the whole
MHP?
presentation, is it?
Oh, no, there's more coming.
Yeah, so this is the concept sketch. Interesting to look at, but not,
Yeah, but
not as useful for us.
it says purchase and sale was executed in 2009, so it took them 2 years to get to that point. And then what was the next thing legally that happened? The developer's been picked at that point or not?
I
The
think,
RFP's gone out, right? So
I,
has the developer been chosen at this point?
at the point that this presentation was created,
No, well, it says December 2009, purchase and sale executed. What does that mean?
So I think they had to, I don't know how they financed this, but they may had to enter into an agreement with the developer for the land.
right,
Right.
And it looks like they had a town meeting to be able to work it. And then they got approval in June, then they had to work out the details of the agreement with the town and the
Go
developer.
to the.
Right, so the developer's been chosen within the 2 years since they started the process.
The
It
one
then
before
took
that.
another 7 years, 8 years, whatever, to get it
Mhm.
built.
Right. It can be done quicker. But my assumption is that this is like anything else, they had volunteers or whatever doing it, so they had to wait for this meeting, they had to wait 2 weeks or a month for that meeting, for the planning board, for the conservation, whoever was involved, so that's where you take most of your time.
Well, maybe by now things are more streamlined for these processes.
Don't count
I
on
know,
that.
because, the
serious.
network meeting,
Yeah,
they're all like, yeah, 10 years,
that's what they told us.
which
From,
is,
Okay.
so we're looking at 10 years from, we're looking at 2034
Mhm.
before we actually have something
Yep.
built. And if we get it done 3 years quicker, great, but
yeah, and maybe it will be streamlined because there's such a big push from the state for housing.
That's my goal.
So that maybe, I don't know,
And-
fingers crossed, right? You always hope springs
and-
eternal.
and this, I'll say this, and I think Ronnie and I kind of know that when it gets bogged down in the municipality, but if this is a primary focus of your group, you should be able to get this done much quicker.
yeah,
Much
hopefully,
quicker.
we have the land.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
plus.
That's the key.
We would still need to do a lease of, 100 years or whatever, similar to what happened with the fire stations at town meeting.
Mhm.
So we would still have to, whomever the developer winds up being, we lease the land to them.
Yep.
So if in fact they agree, we still need the RFP process to see what we're looking for, how we do it.
And sometimes that
So-
takes a little bit of time because the first time you put it out for RFP may not be successful. So you may have to put it out 2 or 3 times. That's what takes.
And there are timeframes for that.
Got it.
And then when you
So-
get the right one, then you jump on it, so.
Yeah, and this was a 40B project. So they didn't have quite as much say, but it looks like it was a friendly 40B at least.
Right.
Which makes a big difference.
And they also had to go through the comprehensive permit process,
Yes.
didn't they? And I don't think Westford had the comprehensive permit process set up within the town.
Mm.
So they had to set that up so that they can then approve it. So I think that was another reason why this took a little bit of time.
Yeah, so if we don't have to go through the 40B process, then that is in some ways easier, but it's also kind of forces the issue and makes it so that the project will happen as opposed to.
You have to go to conservation, you'll have to go to the planning board, you'll have to go to zoning, you have to go to all the boards individually.
When we spoke with Laura from MHP in January, I asked, would this be a friendly 40B? And she said no, they would try to work within the bylaws of the town,
Correct.
was what she had said.
Yeah.
So, which means we're looking at multifamily open space, or we're looking at, 55 and over.
Age restricted.
Right. So,
Is this 55 and over, do you think?
No,
no,
it's not.
no,
No, they were kids getting off the bus.
yeah.
Well, people 55 have kids
Somewhere I
getting on the
saw,
bus. Not as
55
many
plus.
grandkids.
go to the
Hopefully
one
not.
before.
Right.
the-
I'm not in that, I don't want to be in that.
They specified affordability from 50 to 100, but they didn't specify age restricted, just affordability. So I don't think this is an age restricted
No.
development.
And this was 100% affordable.
All right, keep on going on that then.
I don't know if you want to look at the site plan here. To make it a little bit bigger.
What are in the back there? Well, anyway,
Or in
the
green.
wetlands are in back. Yeah, I'm looking at the green. What is that?
Those are rain gardens.
Rain garden.
Yeah, so it's showing the detail. I think that's like within here. They did
Okay.
some landscaped areas.
Okay,
So I think that is showing the planned detail for those.
okay,
If you want to see what this is the amount of space that the development takes up as opposed to the entire parcel. So the rest of this
Right.
was left as open space.
Right.
That's a huge area of water.
It is, it's
Yes,
pretty
it's
wet, it has the
yeah.
power lines, it's right along 495,
Mhm.
so, anyway. Okay. So, I mean, we only have 7 acres on the parcel that we're exploring.
That's
So,
okay, we're gonna be positive about that
we
water.
are.
There's, I mean,
And for a 55
That
and
mystery
over.
water?
yeah.
Yeah, the mystery water. Anyway. So have you heard from Laura at MHP?
No, but I will reach back out again, because I did get
Okay.
that one email from her that said, I'm meeting with the engineer. I will let you know once I get something back. After I think I bugged her just enough times that she finally wrote back and said, stop bugging me.
Still
So,
bugging.
yeah. So I will reach out again and say, how'd your meeting go?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, keep moving it along there. Let's just go. I don't know how many slides are in that. Total.
It's taking a second. There we go.
So 2010, so they, 2007, 2010,
Yeah,
so
3 years
they
in
go
now.
to the comprehensive permit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
If it doesn't have to take that long.
no,
Comprehensive permit at
It
least.
doesn't, and I also would question how they project managed it as well.
okay.
Yeah, so I've seen comprehensive permits go within a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think we should just let the Council on Aging know that what we're thinking and what we're in, and make sure that it's what people in town actually want.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, everything I hear leans to this sort of thing,
Mhm.
but who knows, so. Right.
And these are the concepts of what they might look like.
And they do pretty much look like that. See that dormer one lower right? That's where I'm thinking, maybe that has an upstairs.
I
Yeah.
think they all do, just based on the roof lines,
Mhm.
unless they have like cathedral ceilings.
Yeah, exactly. Or,
Well, those are two-story peaks, so
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
maybe that lower left,
Maybe that makes
maybe
the
not
third
so much.
bedroom, just like a,
Yeah,
a
a
loft.
loft. Marketed by Chelmsford Housing Authority. It's interesting because some of the apartment-like ones that we looked at, those were Chelmsford, Westford and Chelmsford, but Chelmsford Housing Authority.
that means that they were managing them.
Yeah, so they must have a larger,
Yeah, they have a voucher
Structure.
program and everything, yeah. Which is what we're looking at. We need to get to a point where we can manage and have voucher programs here for Townsend in order to be able to manage that.
but we need more funding to do that sort of thing, and
Does
that's
this mean it was
always-
the town's first
Yeah.
affordable housing development or the local builder's first affordable housing
I would
development?
say the
I'm
towns.
guessing the town.
Yeah.
Well, our first affordable was,
Atwood?
Atwood, yeah. And then we had a, what do you call it? Jimmy Carter's program. Habitat for Humanity. We had one of those, and then we went for the Townsend Woods. And I think Turnpike,
Do you know
the
Tayuta?
thing on Turnpike is also
Do you know
affordable.
Tayuta? Oh, you probably didn't
Which
know.
one is
She
Christine?
lives in the Habitat House. She was
Oh,
in
yeah, what
the East Hall student.
Oh,
and then a
yeah,
GED
yeah.
student. Yeah.
which is, they have a management company managing that as opposed to the town.
Yeah, I think so. I
That's-
think you're right about
That's what
that.
that's why we put together the Affordable Housing Trust so that we can retain the
The
way in which,
ownership.
yeah, the ownership and the way
Okay.
it's run.
Got it, right.
So these are sold individually for people to buy.
They're
Can be.
condos.
They're condos, okay, that's.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, no, okay.
Well, in the beginning, you need to decide what you think is the best. Is it ownership or renting?
Yeah, yeah. No,
And then
I
you-
was just gonna throw a thing in just because I was thinking, I don't know if it was this development or not, but in one of those network meetings, because when you were saying that they're 3 bedrooms or is there a second floor?
Mhm.
Because they're like, you have to be careful because you don't want people then subletting out space in their affordable
Mhm.
unit. And
Uh-huh.
And one of these places, they put the I think it was this one and they made them change it. They put the access to the basement in a doorway outside, because I'm looking, I think there are like bulkheads there,
There's
but
bulkheads there.
there's probably an interior access now too, because they were like, if you blow a fuse in the wintertime, you can't expect people to go outside with their boots and
Right.
parkers on to get into their basement. But that was a concern for building. It just came into my head. I thought I'd share.
Well,
Just
if
if you-
their ownership, you can set deed restrictions.
Yeah.
On them for what you feel is.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah,
and the deed restrictions are in perpetuity. So, once it's affordable,
Once
it
it's-
stays.
and it
affordable.
stays affordable, and then these are the conditions that you have your affordable.
Correct, so that also
Yeah, yeah.
limits them, that if they are doing an addition to it or whatever, there's deed restrictions on that.
And what they can do, again.
That it?
That was the end of the
Yeah.
presentation.
Thank you.
I know.
So I think we should meet with the Council on Aging and present this and maybe the Spectacle Pond Fund as well. And then we could look at that one in Boxborough. Do you remember that one where there was like a building with 6 units and then there was a smaller detached 3, was off of 495 or kind of close to,
Not the one in Harvard,
might be Harvard.
because that's what it
As
sounds
opposed to,
like.
it's kind of like right on the line.
Sounds like
Harvard,
the one we looked
Harvard,
at at Harvard.
Harvard. And maybe look at that one as another option that isn't just cottages,
Mhm.
because we like that one too. So that was a farm something or other as well, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I would suggest that the more options you throw out there will show that you guys are doing your homework.
Yeah, and what's available.
Yeah,
I do too. I do
I
too.
Yeah.
I drove out there.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you should go there because the
Yeah.
pictures don't do it.
Yeah, I did. I was impressed with the fact that I was like, oh, there's not that many out there. But then when I pulled in, I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah.
This, yeah, a lot
Yeah, I
more.
like the way
than-
it's kind of
It's really nicely, yeah, it's sited really beautiful. Yeah.
It's a real convenience. You know, it's close to everything, you know. It
Right.
is tucked right in there, like near 495, but it's so convenient. Because sometimes I think, you know, well, I don't know, that's Townsend, you know, it's like you're out and then, so.
Can't
All
get there
right.
from here.
Exactly.
Next item on the
Exactly.
agenda. Should we move on? Town property discussion? I went through every single one of these. I only have things to say.
Well, again, I'll just preface that that's just things that are,
I have one that I came upon.
I don't know, what's that I gave you?
No, but
So no one else has this list, by the way,
Yeah.
just so everyone's, because I see everyone looking through packets.
oh, it came up at, you want me to make a copy of mine for everybody? With all my notes?
With your notes?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a clean copy. I didn't make notes unless you want to share your notes. It's up to you.
it doesn't matter if you guys want my notes or not. Which might be just cryptic.
Now, just explain what,
Okay, I want, I'm looking for
You guys
one
should
on
have a copy of this.
Warner Road.
Thanks.
Okay,
You know what? I'll
Well,
give you
can
the
we,
whole thing.
let's preference exactly what this is. This is town properties meeting
This is the whole thing.
that is property that is not the town's yet. It is things that, how the town works it is they try to have everybody work out the details of it to pay the taxes off or do whatever they need to do so that the town doesn't get involved in it because we're not involved in the land, right? If it comes to a point where we have to do something to take it over, we'll take it over. I brought this list to you guys to say, this is what's coming down the pike. It's nothing concrete. There's still a lot of hurdles that they have to go through, but they may be something that the town needs to look at. And I gave it to you guys in the last meeting, in the joint meeting that we had to say, these may be coming up for the town properties to decide what they want to do with it. And if you guys were interested, you might want to let them know when they come available, if they come available.
Single family homes, or what are, I don't know.
Oh, it's a
What are-
mix of properties, and some have houses on them and some don't.
Yeah.
Some of them are teeny tiny.
Yeah.
And so I did, some of them have already been, or at least one of them has already been disposed of. So there, the town has a tax title attorney who does all this work, separate from what town council does. So, and usually it's worked through the treasurer's office, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I found a property in my looking that has no owner. And I checked with Vicki Tidman and she said, it's been years, there's no owner on this property for as long as she's been here. And it is, that's the one I wanted to show you guys. It's 8 acres and it has frontage.
Do you have a parcel on it?
37120. And I got there by looking at one of the postage stamp pieces, the 0.5 acre piece, which is, it abuts Fish and Wildlife property. It has only 50 feet of frontage. It's a half acre. So
Okay, can we back up
Can
a
I?
little bit? Where are you on? Are you on
Okay.
these pages?
yes, so go to page 3 of 4. And do we want to look at this in this detail or not in this detail?
I don't think you need to look at it in this detail until it comes to a point where town properties is going to make a judgment on it. Once I think it has to decide whether or not we're going to be taking it over.
Okay.
And then if it gets to that point and the town takes it over, then they're going to be asked, the town properties is going to have to figure out who to give it to like they did the last. So you guys can then go into a meeting or a representative can go into a town properties meeting and say that the TAHT is interested in that.
Okay.
And then they would have to put that in an article in the town meeting to have the land
Okay, so this was informational only.
correct.
Okay, all right, well, I did go through and I do know which ones I think we should, but I just thought it was interesting that there was an 8 acre parcel with an unknown owner.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm gonna look at that 37, you know what
It's on Ball
assessor's map
Road.
is? What assessor's map?
37, that's the map. The first number is
Oh,
the map,
okay.
37120. So what I was gonna have you put up was either map 37 or 36. Because the parcel that's on this list is 36, and it's only a half acre with 50 feet, but it's about 70 acres owned by Fish and Wildlife. So if you're doing a deal with Fish and Wildlife for other properties in town, slide this piece in because it's road frontage,
Smart.
is what I would think. Just you know, the 70 acres does have road frontage anyway, so it doesn't, but it just gives them more, and nobody's gonna, it's land of low value. It can't be built on. It can be added to acreage for a pilot, if nothing else, to get the town some funds for something that they're not getting funds from now. The parcel 560, moving on page 3, the deed on that is absolutely wrong. The recorded deed. So there's this is going to take time.
Yes,
Um,
I think that's the one that I had on my notes too.
that one's wrong. DCR should be approached for 2920. And I sent all that to Ross, I sent it to Eric, I sent it to Vicky, and I sent it to Melissa during my time as a selectman.
Was that the poor farm?
No,
Lee
It's
Larson.
not. Well, he was the poor farm, but this parcel is not the poor.
This
farm.
is not, that's a different parcel.
Correct. It's further down on Mason Road, closer to the bridge, but not at the bridge. It's from the poor farm to the bridge, it's maybe right here. And it's on the Ash Swamp side
Hmm.
of Mason Road. And Fish and Wildlife did buy the majority of Lee Larson's, but they probably let this go because of the title issue. Is my guess on it. There are 2 pieces that are 1 acre undeveloped that could possibly go, if we were to make exceptions, that could go to Habitat for Humanity. They're 1 acre parcels, one with that you have 2 acre question, it's actually 1 acre. And it has enough frontage and it has a trailer on it right now.
Mhm.
That could be Habitat for Humanity. And somebody could, take it off the foundation and build something on that foundation.
That's the one that I questioned, that if Habitat for Humanity could build on that.
And the other one is, where is this one? Warren Road as well, map 3215 has 315 foot frontage and it's a triangular piece.
Yes.
Has nothing on it. Doesn't quite meet our bylaws, but could probably put a 55 and over on there. Because I think that does meet the bylaws.
Yep.
I could go on and on, but I did look at all of them. The title road, who knows what's gonna happen there. But yeah, there are a couple that we could be interested in.
So when they meet again, I'll find out where we are in the process with the tax attorneys. And then if any of these come up for discussion in that, I will say that I did talk with you guys and that we need to open up a discussion,
Okay,
if you guys are okay with that.
I'm okay with that. Any more on the town property discussion? I didn't realize you guys didn't have. All
I
right,
think you guys didn't come to the joint meeting, so that's why they did it.
Yeah.
yeah. Continue to cover this. All right, financial reports, everybody got that? So our interest, since we did this, it was a little less than a year ago, I guess, was it? And we had Melissa move thing, it was like March of a year ago.
Yeah, it's a little more than a year.
March was when we got the monies, and then we
When
had
did-
her change the,
When did she start that account?
I don't remember exactly,
Okay.
but I know she opened it one way and then reopened a different
Well,
way.
a year should be $4,000 roughly, right?
Yeah, so, and we've gained 2,900, so we're a little less than a
Less than a
year
year.
on interest on the property on the funds that we have. So, and this is where, if we were gonna do the survey, that's where those funds would come from. We have expended some this year, and So it's gonna have to go as far as it can, which is, I guess, a reason not to do the full survey. Because it's all we've got. So, that's it. Correspondence, I think, was what was in the, from that one company.
Yeah. I just wanted to provide it all to you. I don't know if you necessarily need to take any action on it.
But what do you guys think? That one thing, that program, that home modification loan program that Aaron put in our packet, it's right there. It's that just is mail that came in for us.
So that might open up a conversation that we should probably at some point work out between the housing authority and you guys. This is something that we did with a CBDG grant last time, which also had fuel assistance on it too. Is this a function of the housing authority, or would it be a function of the Affordable Housing Trust?
I would think. I agree.
Yeah.
I looked at this and thought, this
Yeah.
isn't, unless we had an inordinate amount of money that we could, do something with.
In history, if there was something that we wanted to add to a program that the housing authority was doing, like let's say the fuel assistance, we would ask if we had more people that are looking for fuel assistance than we had money for, we'd be asking if you guys had money, if you wanted to contribute to it, or something like that. But outside of that, this to me looks like more of the housing authority and stuff that we're doing.
I mean, this looks like provider agencies. So if we wanted someone to manage something, this would be who we would go to, and it's RCAP for Central Mass.
Yes.
So, it's that, wasn't it RCAP that did the fuel assistance? Was that RCAP? No.
I think it's a good program. I think it's something you should definitely do, but I think it's the authority.
Yeah, it's a housing authority thing that you need to work with somebody who's going to be administering it,
Yeah.
outside of that. We have partners that we deal with. RCAP, yes, would be one of it, but we do have others that we are working with.
This might want to go to the community services coordinator. That's, I think, if she hasn't received it, forwarded to Rebecca, because this is something that she could, if she came upon someone who needed this sort of assistance, it looks like.
Well, she would go to their managing,
Right.
who's managing it, which is CDEC.
Right.
And
She could forward the people to the managing programs, because this looks like a state program.
Yep.
It's
Well,
not a state program.
It's
Oh,
not.
it's not?
It's not state funded?
It's
like in partnership with.
right. It's a third party. What do they call it? I
It
can't think of
says
the
a
name. of it.
state-funded one for.
It is funded.
Oh,
the state
funded, but
funds
not
it, but-
managed by the state.
Right.
Oh, but
Correct.
not
So you
managed by
have a
the state.
nonprofit
Okay.
that runs that gets the funds and say, this is how I'm going to run it, and then the nonprofit manages it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really good, because I think it's something that's really needed, so yeah, having, that woman would be a good thing too. I know, I hope people know about it.
Well, we're working on another community block grant that will have things of this being, if older citizens need work on their furnace, or they need their chimney repointed, or they need sidewalks, or they need to put in a ramp or whatever, all of
Wide
that.
doorways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that they can, if they went to Rebecca could refer them to this program,
Yes.
and there are
Yeah.
funds available. We, the town, don't have to provide any funds.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that we are looking at the housing authority has historically worked with agencies. Diane Hanson used to come in here and work downstairs from Sabi,
But that was a CDBG grant that the
in that we're looking for
selectmen
more.
had
Yes, we're-
applied for.
Well, actually, it was the housing authority, the town administrator at the time took it over.
Okay, so, but this is different from that.
Mhm.
This is not, there's no grant funded money for the town from this, but there are funds available through the state if they go through RCAP. They just need to be made aware of this program,
Mhm.
is the way I'm reading this. And those funds are available, not through a town CDBG grant or anything that the town
Right, I'm
manages.
talking about something, you and I are talking about two completely different things. All I'm saying is that the housing authority is looking at other programs like this, is what I was saying.
Okay, but this is available to people now. Correct?
Through those agencies.
Yes,
Mhm.
through those agencies.
Through those agencies.
And
You just have to
so
know it's there.
I would make sure, so Erin is aware, and if someone were to call and ask about that, refer them to this, or to refer them to Rebecca, who's our community services person, and she should be aware of this. It says, did we get brochures?
Yes, I can put them downstairs.
Where's
give some.
Rebecca? She's at the senior center.
Mhm.
Okay, so give her some of those too, and then people can look into it themselves. Really has nothing to do with the town, other than letting people know it exists. And if there's something to apply for that does this, we could do it. But anyway, okay. All right, so, we have, our next meeting is June 24th.
17th or 24th? I have the 17th,
I think I did too.
but I could be
know.
wrong.
I think I do too.
I went off of whatever was in.
I have the
Allison's,
17th too.
17,
so I can
17.
change that.
Okay, good, because I'm not in town on the 24th. 17, okay.
Yeah, Allison had a list that I went off of. so.
And that's our July meeting.
The 17th.
Okay, so June 17th at 1, and the joint meeting is July 11th. at 6.
13th. No,
13th
July
is a
11th.
Saturday, yeah.
Oh, July. I'm
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
at
yeah.
June.
No, too soon.
What, July
July
11th?
11th. At 6. So that's a Thursday.
And that's at 6, yeah, here. Okay.
All right, so for next time, we have settlement of the forestry stuff. We have council on aging. Get a date set up with them, so we'll have a date to look at, and then we can hopefully meet with them in July. I don't know how frequently they meet.
So you want to review the forestry contract before it goes forward?
I'll meet with Adam next week and find out about that. So, and I'll let you know. So, yeah, probably.
Just to bring it up. Jess. Did we bring up the forestry contract at the select board meeting?
Yeah.
No,
well,
I'll do that in my liaison reports.
Okay,
Yeah,
And I'll just let them know that it's being revised because we're narrowing down the scope of work. And I'll check with Eric before the meeting to see, I don't think it needs to go in front of the selectmen. We've already agreed that.
but I'll check with town council.
Yeah.
On the contract or about the cutting?
Both.
the boundary.
Yeah,
Boundary.
yeah, okay, in the contract then
Yeah.
too, okay.
Yeah. Wrote it somewhere. And that's it. So is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.